Hello, I hope you enjoyed your long weekend. At least the weather stayed sunny for most of it, so I hope you've been able to be outside and getting some fresh air. So our starters today are, first of all, we're finding a fraction of an amount of money, and then we're looking at tens, hundreds and thousands. Okay, so first of all, find 3/4 of £83.60. So remember to find a fraction of an amount, you divide by the number that's in the denominator and multiply by the numerator. Okay, so we're going to do £83.60 divided by 4 to start with. So 4 into 8 goes twice, 4 into 3 doesn't go any times, and we've got 3 left over. Remember and keep your points in line. 4 into 36 goes 9 times, and 4 into 0 goes no times. So £20.90 is 1/4 of £83.60. Okay, but we want 3/4, so we're going to have to multiply that by 3. So 0 times 3 is 0, 9 threes are 27, 0 threes 0 again, add the 2 makes 2, and then 2 threes are 6. We've got 2 decimal places in the question, so we need 2 decimal places in the answer. So our answer is £62.70. Okay, and then the next one. Find the total weight of 1,000 vitamin tablets when one tablet weighs 2.03 grams. Okay, so this is the weight of one tablet, and we need to find the weight of 1,000 of them. Okay, so we're going to have to multiply, aren't we? So 2.03 times 1,000. So we're going to have to move our digits 3 places to the left. So moving 1 place would put the 2 here. Moving 2 places would put it there. And moving 3 places puts it there. So following the 2 must come a 0 and a 3. So 0 there, 3 there, and we can see that that 0's under there, that 3's under there, so there's nothing in that space there, and we're not allowed a space, so that's going to have to be a 0 there, and then the point would come after it. But we don't have to have the point when we've got whole numbers, so we can just say it's 2,000 and 2,030, and remember your units, grams. Okay, so we've been doing some work on shapes, and that continues this week. So, I've just realised I've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday there. That's silly, we're not doing that, are we? Because today's already Wednesday. So today what we're looking at is perimeters of squares and rectangles. Tomorrow we're going to do what I've got written down here for Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday will be, so that's Thursday and that's Friday. Okay, all right, so we're squashing that into 1 week. Okay, so we're looking at perimeter of squares and rectangles today. So the first question is, what is perimeter? I'm talking about finding the perimeter of squares and rectangles, but what is it? Okay, a lot of you will have come across perimeter before, and perimeter is for 2-dimensional shapes, like polygons, like we've been looking at, and it is the distance all the way around the outside of a shape, or the edge of a shape. Okay. Okay. And so perimeter is, as we can see here, a distance that makes it a length. Okay, it's basically the lengths of all the sides of the shape all added together. Okay, and if you want to, you can help yourself remember that by looking here. The word perimeter has rim in it, and remember the rim is the outside of something. Okay, so important thing to remember is that perimeter is a length. Okay, so if it's a length, think about our length units. We've got millimetres, centimetres, metres and kilometres. Okay, all right, let's have a look at some examples then. So, just to get us started, here's what looks like a rectangle. Okay, we can't say for sure that it's a rectangle because it would need to have the right angles drawn in if it was. Okay. Anyway, we can see to find the perimeter, all we do is pick a place to start. Okay, so if we pick that corner to start with, then the perimeter, what we'll do is go this way. Okay, so if we're going that way, we'll have gone 6 centimetres, then 8, then 6, and then 8. Okay, so we can say P equals 6, add 8, add 6, add 8. So if we add those all up, we get 14 here and 14 here. So we've got 28 altogether, and these units are centimetres. Okay, now this next shape is certainly not a rectangle. Okay, the fact that we've got opposite sides equal in length would show us that this is a parallelogram, and when we work out its perimeter, again, just pick somewhere to start. So I'll pick here, and we're going to go this way around. So we're going to do 8, add 6, add 8, add 6. But hang on a minute, that's exactly the same as the one that we just looked at, isn't it? Because that's 14 and that's 14, so it's 28 centimetres. Okay, so the perimeter of this rectangle and this parallelogram are equal to each other. Okay, so what I want us also to notice is when we were writing down the lengths of these sides for the first one, and if we're looking at the rectangle, we had 6 and 8, and then we've got the same sides again, because remember opposite sides are equal, aren't they, in a rectangle? So we've got 2 6s and 2 8s. So if we'd wanted to put those numbers in a different order, we could have just written P equals 6 add 6 add 8 add 8. Okay, in other words, we've got 2 6s and 2 8s, or we've got 2 lots of 6 add 8. So there's different ways of writing down perimeter, excuse me, and depending on the shapes that we've got, we're maybe going to work it out in different ways. It also depends on the numbers that we've got. Okay, so here we have a square and a rectangle because it says so. Okay, so we're going to find the perimeters of these shapes. So remember, in a square, all sides are equal length. So we'll have 10, add 10, add 10, add 10 as we go around our shape. So let's pick here for our starting point. So we'd have 10, 10, 10, and 10. But also we could have said that it's 4 times 10, couldn't we? So if you are finding the perimeter of a square, because all the sides are the same length, you can just do it as a multiply by 4. Okay, so whether we do it as a multiply or an add, we're still going to get 40 centimetres. Okay, so onto our rectangle here. Now remember, I'm using P equals for perimeter equals, and remember that that length is the same as that one, and that length is the same as that one. So this time I'm going to write down 2 times 4 and 2 times 12. Okay, as long as we write down what it is we're working out, it often doesn't matter which way round we're doing it. Okay, but remember BODMAS, you've got to work out that, add that. You can't do 2 times 4 is 8 and then add 2 to 8. That doesn't work. So 2 4s are 8, 2 12s 24. So altogether we've got 32 centimetres. which we would have ended up with if we'd worked out 4, add 12, add 4, add 12. Okay. Now, we'll look at a few more examples, and then we're going to do a bit of working backwards. So here, we can tell that we've got a square because we've got these dashes on the sides to show that they're all the same length. So we could either do this by adding, or we can do it by multiplying by 4. Either way, I'm going to say we need to write P equals. So let's do it as 7.2 times 4. Okay, and we can do that at the side. So 2 4s are 8, 7 4s are 28, and then you've got 1 decimal place in the question, so you need 1 decimal place in the answer, so it's 28.8, and the units this time are metres. Okay, it's very important that you select the correct units. Okay, our next shape looks like a rectangle. It's not guaranteed to be a rectangle. If these angles are not right angles, just actually going back to this one, I said it was a square, but you really technically need those in there to tell you, otherwise it's a rhombus. And this could be a parallelogram and not a rectangle, but it doesn't matter, but we're just going to look at the markings to show us that these sides are equal to each other and those sides are equal to each other. So here what we've got, we just need to add up all these lengths of all these sides. So we can do it, if we like, as, let's do it as 2 times 3.5 add 8.1. So we're going to add the 3.5 and the 8.1. And then we're going to double that because we need the same again, don't we? So 3.5 add 8.1. Let's see if we can work this out in our heads without doing a chimney sum. So 3.5 add 8. So 3 add 8 is 11. 0.5 and 0.1 makes 0.6. So what we're working out is 2 times 11.6. Okay. Now be careful with this one. If you've got 11.6 and 11.6, you have not got 22.12. Okay, remember, digits after the decimal point have to be said individually, and if we actually do this as an add, 6 add 6 is 12, but remember the points stay in line, so 1 add 1 is 3, and then 1 add 1 is 2, so it's 23.2. And look at the units this time, we've got millimetres. Okay, we could have just done this as 3.5 add 8.1, add 3.5 add 8.1, or we could have done 3.5 times 2 and 8.1 times 2 and added them all together. It's fine whatever way you do it, as long as you're adding up all together, you've got 2 3.5s and 2 8.1s. Okay, so let's have a look at the next ones. So this time, what I want you to do with these questions really is look at them and look at the numbers, look at what you need to work out and do what's easiest in terms of working it out. Okay, so we can see here we've got a 16 and a 16 and a 2 and a 2. Okay, so now I can spot here that a bit of this sum is quite easy because look, 16 add 2 is 20. Okay, so we've got 16 add 20 makes 36, and we're back to centimetres again. Okay, doesn't matter how you work it out, like I say, as long as you've got 2 of each for a rectangle. So, on to the next one. So we're going to have 2 8s and 2 4s this time. I'm just going to write it like this time. Okay, so we've got 2 8s, a 16, 2 4s are 8, so we've got 16 add 8, so that's 24, and again our units are centimetres. Okay. So every time you need to work out a perimeter, you're adding up the lengths of all the sides. And today really we're just sticking with squares and rectangles while we get used to this idea. And here we are, I've got a lone little square by itself, and I'm going to tell you, actually, I'm not going to tell you that's a square, that could be a rhombus. These angles in here might be slightly not right angles, okay? We're told that all the sides are the same length though, so working out the perimeter is just the same. So P equals, well, we've got 4 sides, and each side is 6 centimetres. So the perimeter, the distance all the way around the outside, must be 24 centimetres. 1 6, 2 6s, 3 6s, 4 6s. Okay? So, on we go again. What I want us to think about just now is that different squares and rectangles can have the same perimeter. Let's just look back at the ones that we've seen, see if any of them do have the same perimeter. So we've got 24 there. Oh, look, yep. Here you can see this rectangle and this square had the same perimeter, didn't they? They were both 24 centimetres, but they certainly were not the same shape to start off with. Okay, so we worked out 2 8s, add 2 4s, and that came to 24 centimetres. And then we worked out 4 6s, which also came to 24 centimetres. So here's a little challenge for you to think about. I would like you to think, can you find at least 3 different squares or rectangles that have a perimeter of 20 centimetres? Okay, so squares or rectangles where the distance all the way around the outside is 20 centimetres. So if you pause the video just now, whilst you have a wee think about that, and then you can come back to me and you can see all the different ones. Okay? So you've had a chance for a think. So here are some of the rectangles that will have a perimeter of 20 centimetres, and there is also one square that has a perimeter of 20 centimetres. So first one, we've got a 6 by 4 rectangle. That's the same whether you draw it the other way up or not. It could be a 4 by 6. The square is a 5 by 5 square. Then we've got a rectangle that's 7 by 3 centimetres, a rectangle that's 8 by 2, a rectangle that's 9 by 1, and there are even more than that. Okay, let's just have a quick check of some of these. So here we've got 2 6s are 12, 2 4s are 8, so we've got 12 add 8, that makes 20, so that one's right. Okay, here we've got 5, 5, 5 and 5. 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, here we've got 2 7s, which is 14, and 2 3s, so that's 6, that's also 20. So all of these do have a perimeter of 20 centimetres, but I want you to notice something about the sides, the length of the sides that you're given. Okay, so this one, what's 8 add 2? Because we're going to double that, aren't we? So 8 add 2 is 10. So we're going to do 2 times 10 is 20. Here, we're going to do that, and then we need the same again. So we need 9 add 1, which is 10, and we're going to do 2 times that. So that's also 20. Okay, so the question I want to ask you really is, it's a little bit more complicated. Can you see a rule? Can you work out, for example, if I gave you the perimeter of 30 centimetres, how could you find a rectangle that has a perimeter of 30 centimetres? Well, if we think about it, this add this then needs to be doubled to get the perimeter. So that must mean that this add this is 15 centimetres. So all you need to do is pick two numbers that add up to 15. Okay, so I'm going to pick 9 here, and then this one must have to be 6. Okay, because 9 add 6 is 15, and then we've got the same again, 9 and 6, another 15. So that makes 30. So it's quite important that you can spot that little rule, because it makes things a bit easier for us. Okay, now what we're going to be going on to tomorrow is things like L shapes and C shapes. Okay, we might get on to what I would call X shapes that are like a plus type of a sign. Okay, and other different polynomials. Just whilst we're here, before we go, what kind of a polynomial is, easy for me to say, a polynomial is this one? Well, let's count the sides, start here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's 12 sides. Can you remember the name of a 12-sided polygon? It's a dodecagon. Okay, so good luck with the questions, and I'll see you tomorrow.